Great. So however you choose to drop into practice, if that for you means that you need to do a couple of sun salutations and then sit or come to your back, if you want to start on your back or start in a seat, just moving in some way from outer sensibilities to inner sensibilities. I'll cue for a sitting posture, dropping in. So allow your bones to be heavy, to feel the support of the earth beneath you. You could take your attention to where your hips and your legs and your feet touch the earth. And a slight anterior tilt of the pelvis, so you draw the low back in towards the midline of your body. And see if that allows you to sit up or reach the crown of your head a little taller, longer spine. Shoulder tops are soft. Face is relaxed. Eyes closed or cast down towards the earth. And then just scanning through, particularly your energy. Noticing if you feel in a hurry. Feel like there's something in the future that's going to be better than this or different than this. See if you can stay right here in the time you've given yourself to practice. You might bring your awareness to your breath, where it enters and exits the nostrils, or to the rise and fall of your chest. This is it, right here. Four more rounds of breath. Lengthening the inhale and exhale. How is it now? How is it now? And then just take your time, lifting your gaze, opening your eyes, blinking a few times. And we'll make our way to our backs if you're not already there. I talked in the newsletter about habitual thinking and posed some fun questions, hopefully, for you. And today's class is about sort of countering habitual ways of moving. In particular, being in the sagittal plane, which is means the movement is forward and backward. And in particular, we're mostly moving forward. Most of our movements in front of the body. So on your back, while I'm talking here for a minute, you can invoke a yawn and allow that pendiculation to happen. So that movement from the inside out, take a couple of yawns. So we mostly move in the forward position. We move and do things in front of our body. We have devices and we're on the devices a lot, or we watch TV in the winter. So head is forward. So we're gonna deal with that a little bit today and sort of counter some of that movement. All right, so pendiculation is what we see our animals do. We've been talking about that for a few classes, been fun. And just allow yourself to stretch or open up in a way. If you just invoke a yawn, it just allows you to sort of naturally move from the inside out. A couple of those, a couple rounds of that. And then take your feet wide and your arms wide, so your body's in a big X position. And reach through the right foot and the right hand. Relax and reach through the left foot and the left hand. The toes are pulled back towards shins. And then just get a little flow here. So moving back and forth. And then you can come back to arms down to the side, soles of the feet to the floor as wide as the edge of your mat. Also feel free today to add any, we did some self-massage or self-stimulation of the fascial system. So you could add that if you want today, or sort of some percussive movements. We've been working on that. Just let the knees fall back and forth, side to side. This is the unwinding motion. Allows us to get out of the sort of linear movement that we do a lot in yoga. So our habitual movement shows up even in our yoga practice often, where we stay a lot in the sagittal plane, forward and backward. And then from here, let's take both legs long. So you're in the Tadasana shape, Supta Tadasana, but arms above your head, stretched out, back of your hands on the floor. And then just press through your right heel and reach through your right fingertips. Release, left heel, left fingertips. So working here a little bit in opening some space in the lateral sheath, the side body, particularly right after we wake up. We have a lot of stickiness in the rib basket. And this might have been kind of the movement you did when you did that pendiculation in the front in the beginning of the class. Yeah. Great. Then both feet over to the right corner of your mat, stacked over in the right corner, and both hands over to the right. So the Bananasana. Maybe your left ankle stacked on top of your right. Take 2 rounds of breath. Again, you can always continue to come back to scanning the energetic body as well. If you're allowing yourself to be present or you're rushing off somewhere else. Go back to the middle. Both feet to the left corner of your mat, both arms over to the left, and maybe the right ankle stacks on top of the left. So a nice opening again along the whole lateral side of the body. And back to the center. Now take the soles of your feet to the floor and bring your arms in the robot arms. So the elbows are pressing down into the floor. And we'll just do some sort of dynamic bridge, but I really want you to think about really expanding through the collarbones, through the clavicle. So as you press into your feet and you press into your arms, lift and feel spread across the collarbones, and then just set the hips back down and repeat a few times. Really press into your elbows. You can come down nice and slowly so you feel the articulation through each spine bone. Keeping a nice open chest here. And do a couple more. Next time you land, you can keep the knees bent and you could actually rest your knees together. Take your arms out into a big T position. And now same thing, just pressing your forearms, palms are up towards the ceiling. Press into your forearms on the inhale and just feel a little lift, and exhale, release everything back down. Now you probably get a little arch in your low back with this, but if you can minimize the arch in your low back and see if you can really just have this be more of an opening through the upper chest. Exhale, release back down. Very subtle. Of course, the brain likes this subtle movement. It's unique. Right? We've been talking about that, how the brain likes the subtle movement for learning. Now notice your head position as you continue this. If your chin is tilted up, tuck your chin in like you're giving yourself a double chin. Keep the back of your neck long. And you could even press into the back of your head into the floor slightly. So you really want to work with countering the forward head that we get with all the screen time. Great, and then you can relax, release, and take a block now and take the largest surface area of your block. So that largest surface area, and set your hips up and put the block right underneath your sacrum. So, and the other area, of course, that gets a lot of overuse are the hip flexors in sitting. And even those of us who are very active, okay, we sit a lot, especially in the winter. So bring your knees in towards your chest. You could even do the self stimulation of the fascia in your core here. But just reach one leg long and set your heel down on the floor. And take a couple of breaths, really opening some space in the front of the hip, countering our sitting position. There'll be some engagement in your core so that your low back stays safe. Right? We don't want to just sag down to the floor. And then you can switch, bring the left leg in, or whatever leg you had long, in, and stretch the other leg long. And we'll come into the hip flexors some more later on in the practice. Now, if it works in your body, you can stretch both legs long. And if this is all tweaky on your low back, just remove the block and come back to the Supta Tadasana. But here, just feel nice opening in the front of the thighs, front of the hips. Then you can bend through your knees, take the soles of your feet to the floor, pop up, and remove the block over to the side. Great. And now just roll on to one side. Stacking your feet into Tadasana, resting your head on your outstretched bottom arm, and take the top wrist and just pull on that wrist a little bit, press through your feet, your body in as straight a line as possible. Great. Release the top arm, bend through the top leg, and take your top foot with your top hand. Space in the front of the thigh. You might even be able to pull that knee back slightly. One more full breath here. And then we can roll back to our backs and just do some percussive movement with the legs. So just bounce the knees. Bounce the knees, bounce the knees. And we won't do it a long time. You can add this into your own practice for a longer time, or if you're lying on the floor watching TV, whatever. And then roll to the other side. Again, nice sideline Tadasana. Stack the feet. Top arm, bottom arm, you're resting on top arm over your ear, and take the top wrist, stretch, reach, press through your heels, creating some more space in the front and sideline of the body. One more full breath. And bend the top leg, bend the top knee, take the foot back, top hand takes the top foot. And 2 full breaths here. 2 full breaths here. And then we'll roll onto our bellies. Make a little pillow with your hands. We'll start with a really gentle back bend. Okay, so legs are long, tops of the feet into the floor. Press into your elbows and lift, and keep the back of your neck long. So the back of the neck long, and I'm just looking over the front edge of my mat and release back down. All right, so take about 8 to 10 repetitions here. Breath and movement together. Keep the back of your neck long. Notice your tendency to lift your head and your chin. Keep the back of your neck nice and long. Next time you come down to the floor, release your hands and bring them to the side ribs underneath your shoulders and press yourself up. Take a block. And again, you're going to use the biggest surface area of the block to come and sit in Virasana. Virasana. And we'll just warm the shoulders up. So fingertips to shoulders and back stroking. Back stroking, you'll have a little twist action happening there as well. Great. And then release that out. Now, from here, a couple of options. We're going to go to broken toe pose. So you could come right into that pose, turn toes under, and rest your hips back on your heels. If that's a lot for you, take your 2 blocks and stack them on the highest height. And you can set your sit bones down onto the blocks. Turn the toes under here. And then everyone get your strap. Take your strap behind your back, palms towards your low back, palms in, All right, and then break the strap apart. Pull the strap apart as you pull your arms off your back body. Now really plug your sit bones down. This is why I'm starting on the blocks actually. It's a little easier to feel this. Plug your sit bones down into the support as you reach your arms off your back. Break the strap apart. Let's just do 2 more breaths here. And release. Set your block off to the side and just shake out your arms a bit, little percussion with the arms. Shake your hands. Shake it all up. And then from here, you can just rock forward, remove the blocks and take them to the front of your mat. And if you were sitting on the blocks, just give yourself a couple of rounds of breath without the blocks in the broken toe pose. So toes are turned under. We're opening up some space in the plantar fascia, bottom of the feet. Good. Ooh, yeah, and then when you're ready, come forward and the tops of the feet can come down to the floor. A little percussion here. Good. And then from here, we'll bring 1 foot forward. Hands are on the blocks and just moving back and forth in this low lunge. When you come forward, I would encourage you to isometrically draw your shoulders back or draw your hands back and actually draw the shoulders back. So you feel some spreading through your upper chest. So make it maybe a little bit different than you usually do. Don't just fly through it, but actually draw the shoulder blades down and in and isometrically pull your hands back. Of course, blocks can be at any level here. You might have your hands on the floor. And we'll all press up to proposal pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Now, right foot, if you have your right foot forward, you're going to exhale, left hand down to left hamstring and kind of side bend over to the left. If your left foot is forward, it's the right hand to the right hamstring. And then inhale, sweep both arms up and release your hands down to the blocks. Both knees back and just reach your hips back towards your heels in a child's pose with hands on the blocks. Inhale to come back up and switch front foot. So if you're with me, it's left foot forward now. And then moving through that same lunging motion, forward and backward with the hips. But as you come forward, can you draw your shoulder blades in towards midline, okay, and down as you pull isometrically back with your hands, really opening through across the collarbones. Moving back and forth here a few times. We'll pause as you set that up. Get that openness. Still keeping the ears stacked over the shoulders, so not lifting the chin. All right, so back of the neck long. One more. Then you'll press and stand on the one knee in proposal pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, opposite hand now. So for me, it's right hand to right hamstring and a little bit of side bend over to the right. Inhale to come back up. And now exhale, hands to the blocks, both knees back. You can set your blocks to the side for a minute and just hands underneath shoulders. Take a few rounds of cat-cow. Adding some of that sideways or circling motion into our cat-cow. And then bringing hips back towards heels. And taking hips right and left. Big smiley face behind you. And then from here, we'll inhale to the cow position. Exhale, turn toes under and press hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in your downward dog. You might pedal through your heels here. And then walk your feet towards your hands, keeping your hands and your feet rather far apart. So it's kind of like a big wide Uttanasana. And then bring your hips back, bending through the knees, and press yourself up through to Tadasana. Bring the palms forward, or face the palms forward in your Tadasana, and stack your ears over your shoulders. So I actually took a walk the other day with my palms forward the entire time. I won't tell you how long the walk was, but it was fairly long. It's kind of hard to do, right? We tend to have our hands turned back the other way, shoulders drop in. So opening through the chest by having the hands forward. Great. Now from here, let's step the right foot forward, left foot back, left toes out, right? And inhale as we lift the arms up and come into warrior one. So right foot is forward, knee stacked over the ankle. Back foot is turned out. And then on your exhale, you'll straighten through the front leg and open the arms up like you're taking your thumbs back in hitchhiker fashion. Inhale, bend through the front leg, reach the arms up. Exhale, straighten the front leg and open the arms, hitchhiker. Inhale, then exhale. And repeat that 6 to 8 times. Notice if you're in a hurry for something different. Try to stay right here and feel it all. Keep your ears over shoulders. Back and front leg equally weighted. We'll meet with the front leg straight and the arms out to the sides, thumbs back, hitchhiker. Meet there. Great. And then just to bring your weight forward on your next inhale and step forward, Tadasana. Tadasana. Right. Take the right foot back now. Left foot stays forward, bending through the left leg. Reach the back hamstring up towards the ceiling. Inhale the arms up. This is our inhale. Vira one on the other side. Good. Exhale as you straighten the front leg and open the arms. Inhale. And exhale. And again, at your own pace, in a way that's skillful for you, i.e., it allows you more discovery. Go through about 8 more rounds. How's your breath? Match your breath with your movement. We'll meet with the front leg straight, arms open in hitchhiker arms. Good. And then just take your body weight forward. Inhale, step forward, Tadasana. Now in this Tadasana, open up your stance a bit, and we'll just sort of bring the arms into this a little percussive movement. So we're going to hug ourselves, opposite arm on top each time. If you want your hips to be involved, you can involve your hips too. So a little dynamic movement. Again, we've been working with the fascial system and all these ways we can support the fascial system, which really is the system that matters the most in ease of movement. Good. And then you can shake out your arms and hands, maybe bounce a bit. Good. And then take your blocks and set your blocks up at the back edge of your mat. Back edge of the mat. Have them handy. I like to set mine up on the highest setting, just because it's a little easier to grab when I want to set them up. So let's start with a nice wide stance, and then turn the right foot to line up with the long edge of the mat, turn the left heel out, and then just back and forth a bit in bending through the front knee. You can have your hands at your hips, going into warrior 2 legs. You could play here with a shorter stance or a longer stance. Then we'll land in warrior 2, arms extended out. Take a couple of breaths here and feel for opening. So like tucking the shoulder blades down and in a bit and opening through your collarbones. Good. Inhale to come forward. Exhale, front elbow, front forearm on front thigh. And bring your top hand behind your head, reaching your elbow up towards the ceiling. See if that allows you to spin the belly a little bit and open up through your collarbones. Take one more full breath. Good. Then bring your top hand back to your hip as you straighten through the front leg. And this front hand then lands either on the shin, on the thigh, or on the block to the outside of the lower leg, Trikonasana. Now, again, try taking your hand to the back of your skull, letting your head sort of rest in the back of your skull. Notice if your elbows pitched forward, that's the cue right there that you're bending at the waist. This is a big lateral opening. It's actually got back bend element to it. So point the elbow up towards the ceiling. One more full breath. And then top hand to hip, bend through the front leg and come back up. Turn both feet to be parallel to one another. And we're just going to move back and forth like we're a skater. So the hands flowing. You could bring your hands behind your back. Speed skaters, we're going to get to see, if you like the Winter Olympics, we'll get to see some amazing skating in the Olympics. Good. And then back to the center. Turn the left foot now so that lines up with the long edge of the mat. Right heel out. And just moving first in the hips and the legs, the knees. And then landing in warrior two, extend the arms. Draw the shoulder blades down and in. So you actually really almost like, it's like a little external rotation in the arms, but see if you can get a little bit more space to happen in your upper body. Ears are stacked over the shoulders. And then turn the front hand, inhale to reach forward, exhale, front forearm onto the knee, press the forearm into the knee, and then top hand comes behind the head and your elbow pointing up towards the ceiling. You can take this long here once you have that position. So bicep over ear, extended side angle. Wherever you are, then straighten the front leg. You can take your top hand back to your hip, and whether your hand's on your thigh or your lower leg or the block to the outside of the lower leg, spin the belly and then hand behind your head with elbow pointing up towards the ceiling. What happens to the back foot? Keep good engagement in the back foot. And one more breath here. Bending through the front knee, take your top hand back to your hip and up. And both feet parallel to one another, and let's skate again. Take your hands behind your back. You might even interlace the hands, pulling your arms off your back. Now, if it feels okay to lift your heel, when you come to the bent leg side, you can do that. Good. Then both feet together and a little bit of percussion, a little bit of bouncing, bounce the hands. Good. Great. And move the blocks out of the way and come to the top of your mat. Inhale to sweep the arms up, and exhale, come through center and fold. Hands to the mat, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale to come forward to the high dandasana. And exhale, come back, downward facing dog. Good. Let's inhale the right leg up. And as you exhale, round, pull that knee in towards your chest and bring your foot between your hands. Back heel is lifted, pressing yourself up to your front thigh or all the way up into crescent lunge. Lifting, lifting, lifting the back hamstring. On your next exhale, bring your hands behind your back, interlace and lift through the sternum, through the heart space, drawing your arms off your back. And then on your next inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, hands down around the front foot. Step back, downward facing dog. Bend through your knees. Give yourself a little bit of relief here, and then inhale, come forward, high dandasana. Exhale, press back. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, sweep it forward, come between your hands. And then inhale either up to your thigh with your hands or all the way up to crescent lunge. And keep the back leg lifted and then interlace your hands behind your back, the opposite grip, and draw the shoulder blades in and down, lifting your sternum, lifting your collarbones. Bring your arms off your back body if possible. Keep your head, keep the back of your neck long by stacking ears over shoulders. A little bouncy here. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, hands down around the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Great, then we'll walk feet towards hands. Bend deeply through your knees, slide your hands back until your fingertips are back by your heels. Reach arms forward. Reach arms forward, Utkatasana, the fierce pose. And then we're gonna inhale, press up, open up. Exhale, reach arms forward, set hips back. Inhale, straighten the legs, press up, stand up, open up arms. Try not to lift your gaze, which I just did. Exhale, bend legs, bring hands forward. Sit in the Utkatasana. We'll just do it a couple more times. Inhale, press up, stand up, open arms. Exhale, bend through your knees. Hands come forward. Utkatasana. Let's go one more time. Okay, and then we'll hold this Utkatasana. Maybe biceps by ears. Exhale, release into a forward fold. Step feet back to downward facing dog. Gather muscle to bone. Don't let the legs get lazy here. And then we'll inhale, drop your knees. So your knees are underneath your hips, but your hands are kind of in a more forward orientation, okay? Good, so then we're gonna come forward, stay on the knees, but now you're in a modified upward facing dog. So isometrically draw the hands back and shoulder blades in and down. And then exhale back. Sort of a neutral table, maybe the hips back a little bit. Inhale, come forward again. Exhale, hips back. We'll do that a few more times. So really trying to, even though it can feel kind of hard to access this, if you isometrically draw the hands back and you bring the shoulder blades together and down, you'll feel an opening through the collarbone area, through the upper chest. Good, the next time you come forward, we'll come all the way down to your belly. And now, take your arms beside you, forehead to the floor, palms up towards the ceiling. Palms up towards the ceiling. Good. From here, lift your shoulder tops and then lift your hands like you're pressing your palms into the ceiling. Tops of the feet press into the floor. Pubic bone presses into the floor. Lift your head and shoulders. Keep the back of your neck long. So just look right over the front edge of your mat. Good. And then on your release, on your exhale, you can either go to the floor, take one cheek or temple to the mat, or make a little pillow with your hands and rest. We'll take a good 2 rounds of breath in the resting position here. This is a lot of work. So we often skip the pausing part, the resting part, super important in our practice. Then forehead back to the floor and arms alongside the body. Palms are up. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Press your pubic bones. There's a little bit of pulling the pubic bone towards the navel. A little bit of that posterior tilt. And then draw the shoulder tops up, palms up towards the ceiling. Press and lift. Can you feel your navel engaged? Can you open up through the collarbones just a little bit more? And then release, make the little pillow, or rest one side of the head, then the other. 2 full rounds of breath. 2 full rounds of breath. Okay. Forehead back to the floor, arms alongside the body, palms up. And again, get that little, you're going to tuck a little bit. It is really kind of a tuck, but pressing, elongating the back. So really lengthening your back by pressing your pubic bone into the floor, tops of the feet into the floor. Then lift the shoulder tops, hands press up towards the ceiling. Keep that all that engagement as you lift your head and shoulders. Draw navel up and in. Back of the neck stays long. And then release. Release. Now here, you might just let your hips move back and forth. You could also bend your knees. Take your feet back and forth, little windshield wiper action. Or I actually think it feels quite nice after that to do just a little pelvic tilting. So choose just something to sort of help you get back to sort of a homeostasis there. Right. And then we'll bring hands underneath shoulders or low ribs. Press yourself up. Pause and table here. Pause and table. And draw hips back towards heels. Back towards heels. Great. Then from here, let's bring the left knee forward as if you're going to go to pigeon. Right leg is back. And we're not going to go to a traditional pigeon. I just want you to sort of let yourself roll onto your left hip and then come back up. Roll onto the left hip, come back up. Okay, working back with the opening of the front of the hip, working a little in the outer hip of the bent leg. Just sort of a rocking motion here. Now, can you walk your hands back towards your hips and open up through your collarbones? Open up through the collarbones. So it's that kind of that same action in the upper body that we did with that modified upward facing dog. Great. And take the, so my left hip is off the floor. Right now I'm going to drop to my left hip and bring my right foot around to the outside of my left leg. I can straighten my left leg if I need to, and just pull your right knee in towards your chest. That's it. Just that. Okay. And then I'm going to unwind. Take my right knee towards my hands, my left leg back. And my right foot is in towards my groin. I don't have my right leg, lower leg parallel to the front of the mat. And I'm just gonna allow myself to rock back and forth a bit, coming on to my right hip and then on to my right shin. And then I'm pressing into my right shin. I'm gonna draw my hands back. I'm gonna sort of get into a little bit more of a back bend, yeah? And I'm pressing into my right shin into the floor. Left leg is long. I'm pressing my left leg into the floor. And I'm gonna try to pull shoulder blades in and down. Retraction. Ears lined up over shoulders. The back of the neck stays long. Beautiful, everyone. Then you drop to your right hip, swing the left foot around. Maybe the right leg needs to straighten out. In my case, it does. And my left foot to the outside of my right leg. Adjust. Left knee bent. I pull the left knee in towards my chest. One more round of breath here. And release. And then from here, come to your knees. And then up onto your knees. Up onto your knees. If you need to put some padding underneath your knees, do that. We'll turn toes under here. Turn toes under. And inhale the arms up. Now, this could be where you land. And then you just exhale the arms down. Or we'll inhale arms up and reach right fingers towards right heel and left arm up and over. Like I'm side bending and sort of back bending at the same time. It's a lovely alternative for Ustrasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, left hand to left heel, right hand up and over. Inhale back up and exhale. As you exhale, take the tops of your feet to the floor and just set yourself hips to heels, interlace hands, reach your arms off your back. Draw your sit bones down into your heels, or think about lengthening your tail. We'll do it one more time. So we'll inhale, come up onto the knees, reach arms up, turn toes under, exhale, right hand to right heel, left hand up and over. Inhale, reach arms up, exhale, left hand to left heel, right hand sort of side sweeping, opening all through the right side body, the front of the right side body, the right ribs. Inhale, come back up. As you exhale, tops of the feet to the floor, hips to the heels, opposite grip now behind you. Reach your arms off your back body. And release and shake out your arms. We're coming back to our back now. So on your back, and you can take a couple of pelvic tilts here, just a few cat-cows on the back. Setting yourself back into sort of a neutral position. And then we'll take the block again. So press into your feet, take the biggest surface area of the block underneath your hips. We'll come here into a supported bridge. So tuck your shoulder blades underneath. You could use the robot arms to help you here. Press into your upper arms. fingertips reaching towards the ceiling, and just feel this open space through the collarbones. You keep the hands here, and then really see if you can, the center of the back of your skull is pressing into the floor. So it's not the chin up, it's more like a tucking of the chin almost. If you'd like, you can press up into a bridge, or you can just rest in this a little more passive supported bridge. Your choice. And after a few rounds of breath or a few rounds of pressing up into bridge, we'll press into our feet, slide the block out. Then you can come down to the floor and take a twist of your choice in both directions. And then any version of Shabbat that you like. You could rest with the knees together, knees bent, knees together. Come more traditional onto the floor with the legs long, arms beside you. Cover up with a blanket. Just take care of yourself here in this final posture, Shavasana. Final posture of Shavasana. And again, just allowing yourself to ask the question, am I here? Am I still here? Or am I trying to get somewhere else? Am I in a hurry? Feel the length and volume of your legs. Whole back body against the floor. Release any pursing around your eyes. Soften your hands. Om Greatest blessings through the day. Namaste.